Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to explain how to make a battery. I'm not going to actually make a battery because I've found when I'm making the battery I can't explain it, and that's how every video on YouTube is. People make the battery, and then when the video is over you're lost and you don't know where to start. I watched a lot of videos when I was learning how to make a battery and I could never find the right way, so I had to read a whole bunch of books to figure it out. And I finally learned how to make a 13S 48 volt lithium ion battery. It took a lot of work to learn how to make one. I had to learn a bunch of stuff that I really didn't care about. I just wanted to know how to make a battery to run an inverter and run my e-bike. That's all I wanted to learn, and that's what I learned. But I had to really work hard on it. Today I'm going to show you how to learn that in this one single video. And if you watch this video to the end, you're going to know how to make a battery. This will be the only video that you need to watch. So first thing I'm going to start out with that really confused me, because other YouTubers didn't take time to explain it, and if they did, I guess my attention span wasn't good enough because I was always left confused at the end, is the layout of the battery. I make these nice little road maps for myself. So basically, you're going to have your negative, your positive, your negative, your positive, and so on. Okay? So these are your nickel strips. So this is your diagram. So you're going to go one strip, and then you're going to have your two strip, and so on. And if you see, I have it all laid out, what's plus, what's negative, what's plus, what's negative. And then what I do with my diagram is I flip it over and everything's the opposite. So it kind of works like stairs, like that. So here's another diagram you can use. If you pause the video, it'll kind of give you an idea. So that's how your 18650 cells should be arranged. That's side view of it. Your battery in the end is going to look like this. This is what I made. I use this on my e-bike, and I use it on my inverter. So I can run a 1500 watt inverter easily, or run it on my e-bike, no problem. And it never gets hot when I run it on my inverter. It's really awesome. So the things you're going to need to buy is you're going to need to get some 8mm wide by 15 thick by 8mm wide nickel, pure nickel. It'll say 99% nickel. You want it to be pure to avoid resistance. You're going to need to get some captain's tape. I bought all this stuff on Amazon. I got two sizes. One of these rolls lasts a really long time. It works really good. You're going to need a BMS. I really like these dolly BMSs because they're made simple. There's not too much wiring to hook up, and I'm going to show you how to do that later in the video. You're going to need some, you can either use T connectors, or these ones. I don't remember what they're called, but you can use these. I have kind of a combination of both depending if I'm going on my inverter or if I'm going on my e-bike. You can pick one of these little multi-testers up at Harbor Freight. Sometimes they got deals where they're even free. They got coupons where you can get one for free. This works fine for me because all I'm checking is the voltage on the batteries. One of the things that confused me a lot is hooking up the charging system and the discharging system on my battery. I was really confused. Nobody can answer the question. I went through tons of videos. Nobody can answer the question. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. So I never hooked this wire up because I already have the charger that it goes to, but you can kind of see what you need to buy. So this is your charging cable, and then this is going to be your discharge. So again, I'm going to let you look at the diagram one more time, and I'm going to hold it up for a good 15 seconds so you could really get a good look at it. So we'll call this the top. And we'll call this the bottom. So if you're working on your battery from the top, it's the other side of the page. Now, you could pretty much see in the picture, but what I have here is it's a 13S 6P battery that I made. I used this, if you're wondering about what kind of BMS you want to get, I got a Dolly 60 amp, rated 60 amp for my 48 volt battery. And you gotta make sure it's a 13S, because if you try to use like a 10S or something like that, it's not gonna work. So it has to be a 13S. So now that you know the diagram and how things work, I'm going to show you how to hook up your BMS. I don't know what this thing's called, your BMS harness or whatever. But you know what it is. You've seen it if you're watching all the YouTube videos trying to learn how to make a battery. You know what this is. I can't think of what it's called. But anyways, I'm going to show you how it works. Oh, one other thing. Don't plug this thing in until you got everything hooked up, because your BMS will start working already before it's hooked up. It just you don't do that. You make sure you have this completely installed before you plug it into your BMS. So we have our battery all hooked. We have our nickel all set up now. Those strips, again, that's all nickel. We have it all set up. What's the next step? So the next step would be is you want to start hooking up your wires. And the way I do these, because I don't want to solder on the battery, the way I do them is I take little strips of nickel and I solder these to the nickel, and then I tack weld it to the tack weld it, spot weld. I spot weld it to the battery. I spot weld that to the battery. So you're going to take your little pieces of nickel, you'll solder that to the nickel, you'll cut little pieces off, and then you'll spot weld that to your battery. That way you're not trying to race with your soldering, scared you're going to burn up your battery. So basically it was really confusing for me, but it's actually pretty simple. So what you have is this is your B minus. This is your B minus. This is your B minus wire. Your black. I don't even know if it's called a B minus wire, but it's your black wire, and the first thing is you got to know where that goes. So that's going to go. This is the only one that's going to go to a negative. All your other red wires, they're only going to positive. So this one is the only one that goes to negative. Okay? So basically, this is going to hook up. This black wire is going to hook up right there to your negative. Okay? So we know where the black wire goes now. So if the black wire goes there, your next wire is your red wire. And they're all red, obviously. So this would be considered number 2. This would be your second wire. So I would call this B2. And I have an old diagram when I built my battery. It's kind of beat up, that's why I didn't show it in the video. But so your second wire is going to go on your plus. right there. Right there. You're going to spot weld it right there. Okay? Your third wire, talking the third wire now, making this really understandable. Third wire, it's going to go, if we flip the page over, or let's do this. Here we go. This will make it easier for you to understand. So we got our black wire right here. That's your first wire on the BMS wires. You got your black wire right there. Okay. You got your second red wire right there. Okay, always has to be on a plus. All your red wires always go on a plus. Right there. So then your third wire will come to the other side. So your BMS will be set up somewhere like in the front right here, and your wires are going to be like this. So your second wire will be on the next plus right here. And then your third wire right there, your fourth wire right there on that plus, your fourth wire on that plus, your fifth wire on that plus, your sixth wire on that plus, your seventh wire on that plus, your eighth wire on that plus, your ninth wire on that plus, and so on. All the way till you have 13 wires. I think I skipped a couple because I should have counted to 13. But anyways, you should have 13 wires, all on pluses. You're going to start your first wire next to your negative. Okay? So, once again, you got your black here, your red here, okay? Your red 1 right here, red 2 right here, red 3 right here, red 4 right here, all the way up. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay? Next thing is you're going to need to hook up your positive and negatives. So I bought some your positive and negative wires. This is some 12 gauge wire I bought. I got this on Amazon. It was like 10 bucks. It's a really good wire. Remember, you can buy all this stuff on Amazon. Don't go on eBay and get lost. You just go on Amazon and put in the keywords and you can find all this stuff. So the next thing is, so what I did, here's what I'll do. When you're putting down your positive and negative wires, you want them to run across the entire row of batteries. The entire row of batteries. You want the wire to go all the way across it. So you're going to snip it and you're going to lay it down across the whole row of batteries. So you're thinking you have to solder that's going to be pretty hard if you have to solder all those. So what I do is I solder the wire to a piece of nickel first, and then I spot weld that piece of nickel to my battery. That might be the wrong way to do it, but that's how I've done it on my batteries, and it works great. So I never solder wires directly to my battery. I'm just too nervous about doing that. So if I'm going to hook wires to the battery, I always solder them to a piece of nickel. So you solder a nice long strand. You solder a nice long strand of wire. I mean, you obviously have to open it up. but you solder it. What I do is I open it up in little spots like that, and then I spread it out, and then I solder it right to the piece of nickel, and then I spot weld that to where it needs to go. So here we go. I have a little diagram that's so nice about the Dolly. First of all, the Dolly BMSs, they're really good quality. They even have smart ones that you can like hook up to your iPhone or whatnot and like monitor your battery. I didn't get that. I feel like it's unnecessary, but if you want to do that, you can. The Dolly BMSs are really good because they're not that confusing. They're pretty self-explanatory. So here's a Dolly BMS. This one I think is a 30 because I wanted to make a 3P battery, but I never ended up doing it. And I think the next battery I'm going to make for you guys on my next video is going to be another 6. Or if I have enough, I want to make a 7P 13S battery. But anyways, 48 volt lithium ion BMS Dolly. You get the Dolly one. Okay? Okay. I'm going to show you how the diagram goes. So here we go. You have your BMS right there. Okay? I'm going to explain it on here, and then I'm going to, if this is kind of confusing, I'm going to explain it on the paper next. So basically, this is your blue wire. Okay? And your blue wire, will go right to your negative. So your blue wire you're obviously going to want to make these wires a little longer somehow. But your blue wire will go right there on your BMS. Okay? Then your black wire will go directly to here, like that. So this one goes to negative, this one goes to your negative, your first negative, okay? So again, if you're looking at the battery from the top, it's gonna go right here on this line. Your blue wire is gonna go on this line on a piece of nickel, all the way across it. So take another piece of wire and extend it. Your blue wire will go right here. Okay? Then your black wire, trying to find my charging. I wanted to show you guys how to hook up the charging cable. So whatever charging port you decide to purchase, the way you're going to hook that up is when you hook this wire, to your BMS, you're gonna solder both of them like this. So what I do is I splice them all together like that. It's so hard to explain. So you're going to have your discharge wire, black wire, and also your charge wire, all soldered to this wire. Okay? Does that make sense? It's all going to be soldered to your black wire. Okay? Then your red wire, other BMSs are different. They're not hooked up this way. This BMS is really simple. Then your red wire, this is going to splice on your charging cable. And you're going to have one wire, one red wire, go all the way to the other side of the battery. So if you flip this over, you have a plus on this side. Remember, you're hooking this up to the sides that have one strip of nickel. So there's one strip of nickel right here. That's where your red wire is going to go. And then if you flip it over here, that's where your blue wire is going to go. Red wire, blue wire. So the blue wire on your BMS, that's the only wire from your BMS that is going to hook directly to the battery. Okay? Your black wire is going to hook directly to your discharge and your charging wire from the BMS. Okay? So your red wire will hook directly from there, spliced. Also with your discharge. So you're going to splice it like that. You got your charging wire and you got your discharge. You're going to splice it. You're going to have a full one single wire that hooks to your strip of nickel, like I said. You're going to spot weld that to your positive on the other side. It's going to go right here. That's where your red wire goes, right here. And then if I flip this page over, your blue wire on your BMS is going to go right here. So I've explained that like 4 times so there's no confusion. Okay? Now let's talk about what kind of spot welder to get. Really, I don't recommend buying any of these spot welders. They're all kind of hard to use. They're not super user friendly. But I was able to build a battery with them, and that's the ultimate goal. And if you're not going to build these things and start a business selling them, I mean, you don't want to go spend $300 on a spot welder. You might as well just go buy a battery off of Amazon. So I bought this one first. It was like 45 bucks. It's a piece of shit. Don't buy it. Okay? Just so you know, that's what the back looks like if you're looking at pictures. It works, but it gets really hot and you got to keep stopping and going, and your battery is going to take a really long time to build working that way. So don't buy this one. This spot welder, I paid like 60 bucks for it. It actually works pretty good. For a cheap spot welder, this will get the job done, and you can literally make your entire battery on one charge. It's a good spot welder. I got this on Amazon. Here's the brand, because there's a bunch of them that look like it. So some of them are like 90 bucks, but this particular one I got was like 60 bucks. So we went over battery layout. If you want to just take a screenshot of that on your phone. So today we went over our battery layout. we went over what your battery should look like in the end. Oh, one more thing. This shrink wrap, I also got this on Amazon. Just put in shrink wrap 48-volt battery. And there's tons of videos that will show you how to shrink wrap. What I'm trying to do is stop the confusion of how to build this thing. And here's, when I was saying splice the wires, here's a good example of my charging wire, of how it's spliced. See, the red one is spliced with the red. The black one is spliced with the black. See? So we went over where you can get a multimeter, what kind of connectors you want to use. And remember, you can buy all this stuff on Amazon. Nickel strip, Captain tape, things that you need. Also, one more thing I forgot. Let me go grab it really quick. That you should buy for your battery. Well, that's too bad. I can't find it. Some kind of foam to wrap your battery in before you put the shrink wrap on, for padding when you're going to put it in your bike or whatever you're going to use it for. I used like some kind of a foam. Like it's like $1 for a piece. I got a black foam, and it's $1 a piece at Hobby Lobby. And you just cut that in strips and then tape that around your battery before you put the shrink wrapping on, and it makes it like a nice finish. But yeah, and you're gonna obviously need 18650 cells. This is some junky cell that I took out of a laptop that I didn't use. But it's good to have a couple junky cells laying around, because you can test out your spot welder before you're gonna use it on your good batteries. One last thing, if you stay to the end, the best place to buy batteries is batteryhookup.com. I got, for this build, I ended up getting some Sanyo 2900 18650 cells. They were brand new in little battery packs that were never cycled. And it ended up coming to like 90 cents a cell. And they were like $4 a piece. They were worth about $4 a piece if you bought them anywhere else. The only thing is you got to take them apart. But the ones that I bought, those were not used. They also sell used batteries on there, and I've also built a battery with used batteries. But you got to do a lot of testing, and that process takes about a month. If you want to just get going on your battery right away, you need to buy brand new cells. But there's lots of ways to buy brand new cells. And where you need to go, batteryhookup.com. You stop looking everywhere else. eBay has trash. It's a ripoff. Go on batteryhookup.com. I'm not an affiliate of them or anything, but that's where I go, and that's where I buy batteries. And yeah, 18650 cells is what you need to use. Thanks for watching my YouTube video. My channel is not going to be just about batteries and e-bikes. I like to build things, so I might build rockets and other things like that. But the next video will be me actually building this battery. But I was actually able to give you a class on how this thing is built, and you're not just watching me build it 100 miles an hour and you don't know nothing when the video's over. So thanks for watching the video. Bye.